Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American Challenger League. I am Reed Rapid Melton. Joining me is Alex Malphus X Manley, and we are hopping into our next to last game of the night, but we've saved the best for last. Although I don't know, some of these games today have been pretty good, but we're hopping into Cloud9 HyperX Tempest, taking on CompLexity Black.
This is going to be quite the matchup here. CompLexity Black yet to play this evening. Cloud9, HyperX, Tempest have of course already gotten their first game out of the way, and they cleaned up 7 Wars Leon in our first game of the night. It's going to be making a little return action here, and we'll see what the picks and bans are going to bring us. As far as the game proper, Pantheon and Italy already being banned away, so Bishu not going to get to play that champion that he loves.
Yeah, Cloud9 HyperX Tempest already got their win of the day IP bonus, so it's nice to see that in their pockets, but now they have to pick up one more win before they close out the evening. And taking on the CompLexity Black, man, these two teams have been slugging it out in NACL. This is, of course, the last time they get to play before the end of the regular season. Now, who knows if we're going to see them in the playoffs, or at least who they'll be playing in the playoffs, because pretty sure there's not a whole lot of ways that they can drop out right now. So great season for both of these teams. You can see them just one win apart. So this game will define who is ahead and who is behind in their matchup versus each other. And as the bans continue to come out, you can see Lulu and Morgana band out there, waiting on the last ban here for Cloud9 HyperX Tempest. And what do you really expect to see here, Malphus, at least as far as the bans? Cassidon is, of course, globally banned now because he did get reworked. So nice to see no side having to ban him.
Trying to think what the final bans could be here. Kha'Zix makes a lot of sense. Elise is still a pretty popular pick, but I don't know if you want to necessarily ban it. I mean, there are a ton of options. With the Lulu already banned, that's kind of like the first go-to look at ban for pretty much any team. Then you want to get like the target bans out of the way. Nidalee there, Pantheon and Kha'Zix certainly there. The Morgana ban is a little bit surprising for me, but Bubba does like that champion quite a bit. And Evelyn bans, they do go back into the jungle for their final ban. Makes a lot of sense. And C9 looking to just snatch up that Ziggs for Bishu.
You know, I wouldn't necessarily. I'd pick Thresh here. Giving Bubba Thresh is never a good idea. Some players, especially like the one-trick pony players, have champions you just can't let them have. And Bubba Thresh, while he's not a one-trick pony, is one of his strongest champions. Now, they really want the Ziggs, but they do have a few seconds actually locking it in. All right, so Ziggs will be the first pick. And if you're CompLexity, you go for Thresh and I don't know, do you pick a mid lane early and grab it away, or do you grab just a really strong jungle? Because like Vi is still open, Sivir too.
That's the thing. You don't necessarily have to go for a mid lane pick right now. You already know what you're playing against. You can do it if you want to hide your other picks. And given that they are on the red side, that will give them the opportunity to go for the hard counter pick on their top lane if they think that they have one available to them. But at the same time, you don't necessarily want to give up that opportunity to pick up some of the hotly contested picks. Like if you have a particular bottom lane that you want to pick up, that would be good. Or if you want a highly contested jungler like Lee Sin, that would also be a really good pickup here. And that's what Broken Shard's going to grab up. And they pick up Robert X. Lee's Caitlyn.
All right, well, with Caitlyn grabbed in there, it's nice to see Robert getting his pick in early. But to be honest, with literally every AD carry in the game left open, going with Caitlyn is making a pretty bold statement. We've seen a ton of Lucian out there and even some great performances from Robert. And when he's had such great games on CompLexity Black as, I think he had a huge Vayne game when they played that Protect the Vayne comp versus LMQ. Some great success on the more hyper carries, and especially with this patch giving both Tristana and Kog'Maw buffs. I'd like to see some of them return. We already saw 2 Kog'Maw wins yesterday and today from LMQ. It looks like it's going to be a Caitlyn versus what?
Caitlyn versus AD Teemo, calling it now. I'll take if you don't pick it, you're a wuss.
Malphus, I'm sad to report to you that you are about to be sadly mistaken. Because if they do pick Teemo, not only will I be now wrong, I'll also have to cast a Teemo game, at which point I'm just going to have to like grab EGAD over here and sub him in so I can like go off in a corner and rage somewhere. But it's no, it's gonna be an Elise lock-in, and this is a jungler that's been seeing maybe some changes. Let's put it that way. And after reading, I think it was CLG Dexter's tweet yesterday about that being the first and last time he would ever play Elise, I don't know. It's not looking good for that champion in the jungle. We'll have to see how good it looks as Kez plays it for Cloud9 HyperX Tempest.
All right, so Kez is gonna have that. Robert X. Lee, Looking to pick up his support. Keep casting in little bite-sized bits like this. He's going to lock it in. Caitlyn Annie could be a very, very strong lane. Probably showing us an Orianna pick here to go up against the Ziggs. Makes sense. Champion that can go right-click for right-click with him early on and doesn't necessarily lose the hard farm war. Or pretty much everything that Ziggs does, Orianna does as well. You can maybe make the argument that Ziggs does it marginally better, but we'll see what happens here. And indeed, it will be the Annie lock-in here. So, Caitlyn Annie.
Yep, and with the lock-in on Orianna too, it's interesting to see CompLexity Black. They're saving that top lane counter pick for last, and like you said, they don't need to counter mid because hey, they already know what it is. But with Lomo Nation, aka Yuzuki, up there, I'm not sure if it's his Smurf that's LMQTC Lomocat, or if that's just an account he was planning on using, because I totally saw that in the lobby earlier. But he's back on Lomo Nation, and we'll have to see if they can, I don't know, if they'll elect him president of the Lomo Nation after tonight's game. Still without having hovered over a champion, you can always just default back to the standard tanky top meta, but with a lot of mages coming back to the top lane, whether it's California Trolls, Vladimir, or a lot of Rise play that we've been seeing not only out of North America, but also out of Korea. I believe Leopard played that on KT Bullets over the weekend at IEM. So nice to see a lot of Rise play coming back. And as one of the strongest champions, getting locked in, no questions asked, Khalid Blarbu taking that one down for Yuzuki.
Yeah, so he's going to take that. We've seen he's played a lot of that this week, but not... It's had mixed results across games, I'll see that. And so now we just need the top lane to go against it. Clearly, it's going to be top lane Soraka. It's going to be bananas all day. Banana, banana, banana.
All right, well, bananas are cool. There's a few other cool things like that. You can do top lane Soraka, but probably you just want to go with maybe a super tank, but super tanks don't really work against Rise because he'll just beat on them and stack up his tier. So even if he's not doing damage, he's dealing damage to the rest of the team by just stacking up the tier and just getting more and more powerful. But with a Shyvana hovered over, I'm kind of questioning that pick just because, like I said, you're not going to be ever able to out-trade Rise's damage, so you need something that can all-in him. And I love aggressive picks versus Rise, like maybe a Kha'Zix or, well, old Kassadin would have been nice, but probably don't want to go that route nowadays. And it's lock-in on Shyvana, so we'll have to see if that's aggressive enough to pose enough of a threat to Rise and threaten his lack of mobility.
All right, so we see Jinx Thresh coming out here. Jinx, a champion that's kind of fallen out of popularity a little bit. The lower base health from that was the primary nerf that Riot leveled at her, combined with the arm time going up for Flame Choppers, makes it more difficult to get the really easy CC lock and all the damage. Plus, makes it a little bit riskier to go into melee range, or not melee range, but the short range, and activate the pow pow minigun bonuses, especially against a champion like Annie, who's just going to look to nuke you down as frequently and as much as possible, which, given her kit, is quite the opportunity. She has quite the opportunity to do that. There's a lot of really finely balanced lanes in this one. What I mean by that, not so much that these champions are the exact same power level. What I mean is, the lanes are balanced on the edge of a knife. One jungle gank that goes really heavily in one team's favor early on could completely snowball that lane and give control of the game over to the team that comes out ahead. So much of this game is going to come down to the pressure that Broken Shard and Kez lay down early.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hype kind of surrounding this game, and as we get into the spectator delay, we're going to take a quick commercial break before we actually get down to the casting. So do you want to thank you guys for tuning in? Make sure to check out our sponsors right down below the stream. It's a nice thing to do during the break while you guys are totally 100% watching our ads, because ad blocker sucks and you guys do not. So stay awesome and stay ad block free, but also stay tuned because when we come back, it's Cloud9 HyperX Tempest taking on CompLexity Black, all made possible by our sponsors down below. Loot Crate for $13.37 a month. That's $13.37 a month. 37 cents. It's not like thousands of dollars. I mean, I'm sure you could spend thousands of dollars on Loot Crate, but that'd be way too much awesome. So click on the link, check out all the loot that you can find in your crate, sent straight to your door by hitting the Loot Crate logo down below. You can also check out the Phoenix Peripherals link. My cough button did not work there. It's highly unfortunate. Check out Phoenix Peripherals. That's where I was. I lost my train of thought there. By heading over to phoenixcollection.com or just clicking on the link down below. There you can find mice, mouse pads, headsets and keyboards, you can unfortunately not find cough buttons that work there. So I'm going to need to look for somewhere else. But definitely check them out because they make some great stuff. We're also sponsored by Law Class and, of course, get some music help from Monster Cats. Why don't you talk about them, Malphus?
Yes, so Monster Cat providing some of the music they'll be listening to throughout our broadcast tonight. So big thank you to them. And did you talk about Law Class already?
I did not. That's up to
Okay.
you.
That's my job. Okay, I was gonna get really angry. Okay, this is a union gig. You don't load my crates, bro. But you guys can check out Law Class over at lawclass.com. Sign up for a group lesson with your favorite NALCS pro. We currently have 6 teams from the NALCS that work with us. That's Cloud9, Team Solo Mid, Counter Logic Gaming, XD.GG, Team Coast, and knew I was gonna run into this wall. Who is the last team?
Well, it's only 18.
Curse. Team Curse.
There we go.
Team Curse is the last team. So if your favorite NALCS player happens to play for one of those teams, go over to lawclass.com, check it out, sign up for an account, see if you can get yourself a free or even the very low price of a premium lesson. Hop on in and see what's going on over there. It's a good time. So those are our sponsors. And Rapid, take it away.
Hey, we're just getting into the game. I'm going to let the game take it away, Malphus. So stick around. We'll be right back with C9T versus CompLexity Black. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Cloud9 HyperX Tempest taking on CompLexity Black here at the North American Challenger League. I am Reed Rapid Melton, and joining me is Alex, Malphus X Manly, and a few thousand other people. You guys are awesome, so thank you for tuning in. It's going to be a great game, and the last time these two teams will play outside of the playoffs, which will be happening, of course, next week. So thanks for watching, and we're going to get things started with a pause.
Apparently, Bishu's having an issue with the animation of his bouncing bomb. Apparently, all of his bombs are flash. Which, if you had flash on that kind of cooldown, that'd be pretty sick.
I was going to say, normally flash is a 5-minute cooldown. It's like Yofo. You only flash once every 5 minutes or so. But now with bouncing bombs doing that for you, it's a little bit more interesting, but not something that you want to have because, of course, as much as you love seeing flash, probably not as bombs. Bombs are not equal to flash. That's the math I can do.
All I heard was Yofo E5 MOS, and I stopped paying attention to anything else that was going on.
MOS, huh?
So, or minutes or something. Yeah, MOS, minutes or something. That's what it was. That's all I got. That's all I got from the whole time. Because I was thinking, what is the actual acronym for what he just said? But
yeah,
so,
you only flash once, man.
Every 5 minutes.
I mean, if you could flash like twice, like right after one another, that'd be pretty OP. And you're not like Dr. Horrible, who's the guy that made that exploit for Summoner Spell cooldowns back in
Dr.
Season
Terrible.
3.
Dr. Terrible.
That's
okay,
true.
sir.
Dr. Horrible, maker of a fabulous blog. But
yes,
we're back in the game.
One that you can sing along to.
It's true. I've done that several times in my life. I've never sung along to Dr. Terrible. That guy was a jerk.
Yeah, that guy had a lot of smites. There's a lot of flashy light going on. I think I had a seizure the first time I watched that video, just because of all the explosions of light from him flashing 19 times a second. But in either case, let's talk about some opening items here, Rapid, while we got a moment here. Bubba Dub going for the Spell Thief's Edge, so a bit of extra ability, power, mana regeneration, along with that gold generation.
Yeah, so that's one of those problems that I actually saw a Freak talking about. It's like people are complaining about no wards until 2 minutes, making your jungle very, very vulnerable. So it's really easy to steal away a buff. And Freak's just like, yeah, see, it used to be back in the day, people warded buffs, and then all the supports are sad because now we have to buy early wards. What are we gonna do? And then they just do it and they ward the buffs and everything's fine. But it does kind of cut into some of the extra starting gold that they used to have for things like potions and other crazy stuff like that. You can see that while there is a Doran shield start with a ward for Glebe Glarbu, Bubba gone the gold generation way with a lot of extra poke and damage.
And I like the fact that Bubba is actually working a ward into his early build. If they want to play aggressively right now, with the fact that trinkets have been moved back so far, level 1 play is a thing again. And Bubba I know, like, high-level Annies, they know that they need to be there very, very quickly, so they never spend any time standing on the fountain. But if he uses that W that he's got prepped for the stun right now, that's all of his mana pool. That's it. He's out. So the Spell Thief's Edge is going to have to do a lot of work to getting him back into this one for the laning phase.
And you see both teams immediately, in reaction to this new patch, just going straight in for invades. And there is actually a ward placed out at level 1, so that's actually pretty interesting. We could see invades off this later on, but now CompLexity Black are pretty sure that they know about the blue start from Cloud9 HyperX Tempest, or it's going to be an invade. It does look like C9T are going for a late invade here on the red, which could actually be where Broken Shard wants to start.
All right, so let's get really excited for this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Standing
More
in the brush.
importantly, we actually have a lane swap here as Bubba Dub and Robert X Lee are going to head up the top lane. But with all of Cloud9 HyperX Tempest waiting here,
Oh no.
This is a 5-man invade. Now there is teleport from Lomo Nation.
Oh no.
Bubba Dub, don't do it. It's not worth it. He walks right into the bush, gets blown apart. And first blood for Altec.
Alright, so he got a nice 5-man stun down and tried to flash away, but it just was not enough. Actually, it looks like he didn't catch Altec with that stun, as he's full health still. Oh, Robert, he's going to take a healthy amount of damage on that one as well. They're trying to keep this red buff from getting taken down. It's going to be a very difficult task.
Yeah, and as soon as it hits 2 minutes, it sounds like the doorbell's ringing because all those trinket wards getting dropped over the wall. Smite's good for Kez, taking it away and actually pulling Westrice in. Maybe a little bit dangerous there. Glebe so low, and Westrice does find the kill on to Glebe. Now Broken Shard's going to clean up the 5 flash over the wall from Robert X Lee. A double flash and a double kill as well, as now Robert's going to go down to the short fused B-Shoes auto attacks. And no, it's actually Kez that picked that up, so holy cow, you can see 2-minute cooldowns on trinkets. Actually pretty effective at making these games a little bit more exciting.
Hey guys, level 1 is back. Yay! I know everyone's really excited to see that. Bishu runs out to the lane and gets the very fast level 2. So Ziggs, who normally has a good opportunity to bully Orianna, is going to even have more bully potential in this one. Although I think Prolly did come away with a little bit of extra gold on that level 1 since he does have the extra assist. Depends on if that first blood assist pool kind of outweighs the extra assist that he has.
Hey, you know how we were talking about that flash cooldown? How you can only flash once? Well, I underestimated. Apparently you can flash 10 times because, of course, all 10 flashes used at level 1. So, talking about that mobility, it's going to be a good game for junglers. Well, a better game for Kez, though, because he has actually already finished off a major buff and a small camp, whereas you see Broken Shard still level 2. Hasn't done a whole lot else besides clear out his blue buff and going for a level 2 gank on Lomo Nation. This is so BM. You never see level 2 ganks anymore. And now Broken Shard going for it, trying to capitalize, can't get it done.
He's going to try to push him back out, and we see, 2v2 up in the top lane. Kez is here, it's 3v2.
Yeah, and misses the cocoon to death, and it's the Will Land and Robert X Lee. No flash available, he's going to go down. Pulls no Diverino, Bubba Dub. Very scary, but makes it out.
Altec takes a tower shot for that one, but that's going to be relatively worth. So we see, Broken Shard did come out ahead in the level 1 as far as the number of kills he got, the amount of gold that he got. But like you mentioned, he did not take down a buff, and it's the red buff, which is like the ganking buff. So it's arguably the more important one for him to secure on his early game Lee Sin. And so because of that, it opens up the opportunity for Kez to get more things done when he comes out to the lane. And we see at the end of all of this ridiculous nonsense that we saw in the very early game here, it's about a 300 gold advantage for the side of Cloud9 HyperX Tempest.
Wow, and what a way to start off the game. I feel like finally, maybe, just possibly, we might be able to have a chance to calm down and gather ourselves because good sweet
full hype
lord.
all the time. Hype.
All right, Malphus, fine. You're going to get some bottom lane. We got Broken Shard doing the NASCAR gang, turning right back around to go into that bottom lane. Red buff's down, and so is Lomo Nation. Yuzuki taking a trip back to base. The 4th kill of the game now for CompLexity Black. Now already 7 kills in 5 minutes.
And that's, I mean, to a certain extent, like Kez, he was able to make some plays happen up top lane, get that extra assist, and put another kill onto Altec, which is great for his team. But he never cleared out his red buff. We see the Flay goes down onto Bubba Dub.
He's gonna get caught by those Flame Chompers, Flay and Flame Chompers landing, but Bubba Dub, oh poor Bubba Dub, goes down. Altec goes big, grabbing his 3rd kill of the game.
Altec has a Vamp Scepter as well, so even though he's very low, he can just stand around and right-click these minions and get himself back to good as far as the HP bar goes. Kez being in the area is going to continue to zone out Robert X. Lee, and Kez is just abusing the fact that he can bully around this this 2-man lane up in the top lane because of how much early pressure and how much extra gold and experience they have right now. They're going to rotate Westrise up into here, I think just as much to keep Kez from ganking this lane as much as anything else. Could goes down, can they stack the CC?
They stacked just about everything, but Westrise is actually pretty remarkably tanky because somewhere out there he found himself enough gold for a Giant's belt. That's actually pretty impressive. So having that item keeps him in lane and does give him a little bit of extra sustain, not only from defensive masteries, but of course the potions that are ticking down, but something also ticking down is the health on this top lane turret, which does still have that 20 extra auto attack damage reduction, but with Broken Shard coming up to help it out. There's actually Chain CC onto Westrise to get the Flay back. The Ignite's down, but it'll just barely not be enough to take him out.
Flame Chopper's the only CC that didn't get used in that engagement, and it could have spelled the end of Westrise on that one. Not level 6 yet, so it doesn't have the Dragon's Descent available to just kind of jump back out. Broken Shard is 3-0. He's got the Spirit Stone, but that's not giving him basically any effective stats right now in the lane. He just gets a little bit of health regen. Is the only thing. Actually, no, not even that anymore since they took that away. He has to hit jungle monsters in order for this to do anything. So right now, he might as well have 0 items plus 2 wards.
I mean, wards are a good thing on Lee Sin. He's going to be making a ton of plays with those as he is now 3-0. So for all the Lee Sin changes that are proposed, it looks like still getting some value out of that champion. Clears out his Wraith camp after, of course, it was counter-jungled, but now trying to make a trip around the map and see what he can find. Bottom lane, a Mega Inferno Bomb keeps that turret alive. It's a little bit more vulnerable, but like I said, wave clear, it's pretty good. Ziggs farming 2 lanes at the same time.
Doing what Ziggs does. Continuing to bully around the mid lane. He's got about a 10 CS advantage thus far, so Probably's been playing this one pretty nicely. Chalice already done here for Bishu, and Probably's just gone in for a second Doran's Ring to get a little bit of extra power and a little bit of extra all-in survivability. Westrise pops the ult onto Lomo Nation.
Already that snare forced the flash out, and that's the problem with Ryze. You are very immobile, and we were actually talking about whether or not the Shyvana pick would be aggressive enough to take on Lomo Nation, but with both top laners, both solo laners rather, very, very far behind. That just means it's a lot better time to play aggressively against somebody who builds so squishy so early on. And going for that health crystal, or the sapphire crystal instead of the ruby crystal there, could have been a pretty costly mistake. Also, the lack of boots really hurting Lomo Nation there in that 1v1.
Yeah, Westrise is just so ahead. He's so ahead. He got the 3 assists. That's his 2nd kill now. He was up 2 full levels. It was level 4 Rise to level 6 Shyvana. And the Shyvana has Ignite, so it has that extra kill potential to Lomo Nation's Teleport. Basically, everything was in Westrise's favor, and he knew it. He knew that the root was the only thing Lomo Nation had going for him. And just pops the ultimate, and he can cancel out the root with that one. And then the burnout plus boots 1 move speed advantage is just way too much for Ryze to deal with. And Lomo Nation, this is why that Ryze has been a scary pick, because the early game is just so abusable. The scaling is fantastic, but you got to get out of the early game in order to take advantage of it.
Yeah, but winning one fight does not win you the game. And while while Westrise has started out NACL with a few rough games on Shyvana, he's definitely brought it back and started picking up those hard carries from the top lane. Now back up in there, Westrise comes back into lane with a Giant's Belt and Negatron Cloak, just stacking up those tank stats. Have to see if that's the right direction to go here against Lomo Nation, who is very far behind.
Down in the bottom lane, Altec continuing to farm up. He finds himself at, again, another creep advantage, and he's got the 3 kills as well. So one of the big issues, actually, the Complexity Black are dealing with is the fact that all of their kills went on to Lee Sin. And Broken Shard is a guy who can carry really hard, as he's going to try to do right now as he tries to pick up the kill on the Kez.
No, there's a teleport coming in here as well. Broken Shard may have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. And there's the Venomous Bite flash over the wall, but he gets followed there by the Spell Flux from Rise. And now with Bombs trying to zone out Prawley, this is looking to be the first dragon of the game at 10 minutes here for Cloud9 HyperX Tempest. Bubba Dub just barely dodges away there from the Flame Choppers, gets hit by the Zap, and with no one there to steal, it's the first dragon going to C19.
Very nicely played there, and just a little bit too much as far as aggression goes for Broken Shard. Good usage of the teleport there from Lomo Nation, saying, you know what, I can't deal with Westrise, but me along with the rest of my team, we can deal with Complexity Black and pick up the kill and the dragon. That kill going over to Lomo Nation is huge. He's now able to complete the Catalyst. Picking up the dragon certainly helped out as well. He's going to have the boots and the Catalyst already done, so he's got his scaling items. He's ready to start scaling into the game, and Kez died in red buff! Oh, he pulls a Broken Shard!
Broken Shard, he's influencing the enemy team. Getting some of that red buff love, and it was very close, but Kez did that buff a little bit early. Didn't quite have the health to finish it off.
Oh no. And here's the worst part. He killed the red buff before he died too, so now the buff is just gone.
I mean, he's still got gold and experience from it, but Broken Shard, I don't know. It's nice to see maybe having kind of the Azingi effect where it just gets in the head of the enemy laner. So in this case, the jungler, Broken Shard, he's actually having a really good game, but we've seen this several times. It can actually be a problem when a jungler gets too far ahead and doesn't share that love with the rest of his lanes. And if you look at the rest of the lanes for Complexity Black, especially down bottom, it's a 0-4 versus a 3-2.
Oh, I'm in a cocoon of pity for Kez right now.
It's sad, man. He's never
don't
gonna make
interrupt
it
me.
to be that butterfly. A nice insect off that ward jump, and now Lomo Nation gonna find his 4th death of the game, and more importantly, that is a death that comes right after a kill that went over to Lomo Nation, refreshing his gold value.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal there, and great play by Broken Shard. This is what you need Lee Sin to do. He's gonna try to do it to Bishu.
Yeah, he sees Bishu walk right over that ward, but Bishu actually is going to be in a little bit of a rough spot here. Tries to bounce himself back towards that turret, hits the barrier, which also, by the way, looks a lot like a KLL, but it's not going to keep him invincible long enough. Westrise takes him down.
Down to the bottom lane, Robert X Lee gonna try to use the ace in the hole. Kez comes down, gets a nice gank off. The super mega death rocket combined with a burst and release is enough to pick up the kill onto the very squishy Bubba Dub. And now we see Cloud9 HyperX Tempest looking to push down this tower. They will successfully trade towers across the lanes. C9 still lead 2 towers to 1.
And man, this game is starting to heat up in a big, big way, but kind of the same on opposite ends of the spectrum. While we have a very strong jungle and top lane for Complexity Black, you're starting to get that carry lane and the bottom lane going. Altec and Glebe Glarbu looking very, very strong. Altec just miles ahead of Robert X Lee. Robert's not going to be a factor for a very long time, whereas Altec already has that finished Bloodthirster. So while that's going to make a difference in team fights, we haven't really seen any of those just yet. I mean, even Dragon was a pretty free objective for Cloud9.
Probably. Locked in the Immortal duel with the Blue Wraith. Can he take it down? Oh, it's not red buff. He can
I was going to say, it's not red buff. It's not devastating enough to kill whole champions in a single bound. But, alright, so Probably does get a blue Wraith, but will he get a blue buff here? It's starting to spawn here in just, I don't know, I forgot the last time. I think it's about a minute until it comes back up, but more importantly, without Dragon respawning for a while, just looking for what that next big objective is. C9T, king of wacky lane rotations. It's been a while, but Bubba Dub securing the pink ward kill. And the life of his own ward in the brush signal that maybe C9T looking to put a lot of pressure here on the mid turret. Westrise finds a blue buff of his own, does go to Corquez, so nice to see him take it down, but more importantly takes it away from both Rise and Ziggs, 2 very mana hungry champions.
Exactly, yeah. The important thing is securing it for your team, getting the golden experience going to you and not the opposing side. It is a little unfortunate that I am not able to speak the English language. That is also extremely unfortunate. But it's unfortunate you can't get it onto one of those high priority targets, and that's what's good about applying this kind of pressure early on. So good play from Complexity Black. Once again, Broken Shard is the guy who has the big lead, and he's the one who needs to make these big style plays.
Weststride's coming in from behind for a flank, and if CompLexity engage hard enough, they can find a couple of really nice picks here. Ward jump over the wall, and now, Broken Shard's going to secure a pink ward kill on the other side of mid. And if you look at that red ward that's right on the bottom side of the mid lane in the brush, there have been 3 unsuccessful attempts from Cloud9 HyperX Tempest to take that ward out. And every single time they wind up getting pushed off, having their oracles or their sweeping lens wear out, or their pink ward killed. So nice to see the preservation of vision control around the mid lane, but still we still have that big dynamic between top and bottom lanes to try to see which one is going to carry harder.
Now whenever I see anyone engage a jungle creep, I just assume that they're going to die to it. I know that's a silly thing to assume, but the white deals so much damage.
No longer silly, Malphus, because it actually does happen.
Oh,
there's
Bijou!
the flash. He tries to kick.
Whoa!
Wait, what?
Whoa!
Bijou flashed at him mid-air after getting trapped. That's not even possible. Megan Bertelbaum's gonna kill him there. And while Bijou will pop the barrier to block a little bit of that Annie damage out, Mr. Tibbers gonna be helping out with the retreat. Now Weststride's diving through the turret, trying to look towards Bijou, but he's tanking up this turret an awfully long time. Kez will repel it, but there's Lomo Nation coming in from behind. Does he have what it takes to kill off Weststride, who is a very, very strong dragon? Dives the turret, takes it up, and still makes it out alive. But now, getting excited. Altec looking for the kill. He's gonna wait for this barrier to come down. Zap will land one more auto attack, but he actually does make it out of turret. Wow. Yep. That is a very merciful turret.
Yeah, keep in mind, guys, that the tower is skewed to one side of the lane. Oh, bye, Bijou. The tower is skewed to one side of the lane, so you gain distance from the tower by running to the side that it's not on, in addition to just running away from the lane. That's why Altec was just barely able to clear the tower aggro in time. But that was a lot of really crazy action going on there, but Lomo Nation he's just not dealing anywhere near as much damage as he needs to right now. The Spectre's Cowl plus the Merc Treads plus the Giant's Belt is making Westray so insanely tanky that he can go in for just nutso dives like that and still come out on the other side, alive and happy.
Alright, speaking of happiness, you can find a little bit of that at the Dragon. As for Kez and the rest of Cloud9 HyperX Tempest will find their second Dragon of the game, Broken Shard. Not going hard into that, and we'll just back away. Somewhat saddened, but with the second global objective here, and a turret advantage. Going over to Cloud9 HyperX Tempest, it's going to be forced CompLexity into making something out of that instead of just losing the objective. Looks like Probably really wants to take down this middle turret. It's very low, but with no minions, have to delay that push. Teleport in from Lomo Nation, man. Cloud9 HyperX Tempest really committing to this mid lane push.
Yeah, they know that if they can defend the tower right now, that means that they got the dragon for nothing, and the tower is extremely low, so committing the teleport to it is a bit drastic, but it does give them the pure profit, we'll call that, from taking down the dragon. They don't lose anything for it in return. So now we'll see if they're able to group up and make a big push happen, because that's going to be the other part of having him teleport in. He's got the Rod of Ages done, so the timer is ticking on how that's going to scale up, but right now, I mean, he's not that much more powerful now than he was a minute ago.
Yeah, I don't know, it's not necessarily calling you out, Malphus, but the Rod of Ages is good, but it's a 1 in 4 rise with 80 CS versus a Shyvana that is 60 CS, okay, it's 50 CS ahead, and 503, like, I mean, I'm happy for him. The Rod of Ages is cool and everything, but let's just be real. Westrise, he's gonna need probably some, I don't know, I think Cloud9 HyperX Tempest may need help from Dragon Trainer on email support to be able to take that guy down.
Alright, if I gave anyone the impression that I was saying that Rise is all of a sudden, like, fine now, no, not by any means. This is still Westrise completely dominating this matchup whenever both of them roam down at the same time. And that's why Yasugi has had to be so careful with his teleports. Boo, not going to get jumped on here. And he just wants to clear out this ward, and he will be able to do so. Yeah!
Alright,
well,
there's Megan Bertelbaum, which is a mega victory, but it's actually clear out the entire wave, so that's actually going to really jeopardize this mid turret. It's going to just, they're going to take it up, and probably in Bubba Dub will actually take it down. That's going to tie things up as far as turrets are concerned, 2-2, but the mid lane turret's still alive for CompLexity Black, whereas they have lost their side lane turrets, which is actually okay, because that gives Robert X. Lee a safe place to farm, And after farming out that wave, allows him to then rotate to help out the rest of his team, while it also helps Westrice, who has taken down the top lane turret, to be able to push out a little bit further and really put to use his advantage, making it a pretty actually scary lane to gank, because when you gank for a lane that's losing, you don't have a lot of damage, and you really risk getting double killed against a Shyvana that is so strong.
It's also worth pointing out that the gold is dead even at this point. Only 200 gold separating the two sides, and that, I mean, at the 20-minute mark, that's basically nothing. So this is this has been a close one here. But the thing is, it's a close game team-wide, but on an individual scale, almost every single matchup is skewed heavily in one side's favor than the other. Westrice is dominantly ahead of Lomo Nation. There's a bit of a lead for probably over Bishu, which is kind of surprising given that it's Orianna versus Ziggs. Robert X Lee is just empirically behind Altec, and yet across the entire team, the gold is just about even, and realistically, the power level is about even as well.
Yeah, power levels not quite over 9,000 just yet. They're still trying to stack that up, and it's 20 minutes in. Like you said, game is dead even. I don't even have problems doing math about the gold difference because it's less than 100. So shout outs to both of these teams for keeping it close and making it a little bit easier on all of our math skills. Now setting up for what should be the third dragon of the game here, and not too long, just giving it 2 or 3 minutes before that comes back up. Some early pink ward coverage down there around the bottom half of the map. Leap Larbu and Bishu are going on a secret agent mission through the jungle, scanning their way, sweeping out the wards. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but they make sure their own jungle's safe and sound and return back bottom lane for what should be a duo, but is actually a 2v3. It's Broken Shard's down there looking for some action.
So scary. Broken Shard. Keep in mind, Broken Shard is one of the guys that's pretty ahead of this one in this phase of the game. They're using Robert X Lee's ability to just try to nuke down towers with the Caitlyn. They're going to get this one quite low, but they won't be able to finish it up just yet. So CompLexity Black will not be able to get that global goal, which would put them out ahead. Dragon's going to be coming back up in about a minute, and Lomo Nation will have his teleport. So expect to see teams grouping up or trying to set up that split push pressure and get Rise some free farm.
All right, well, Lomo Nation is going to have an even rougher time now that Westrice has completed his Blade of the Ruined King, heading up the top lane, really pushing him around. Bottom lane, though, Cloud9 and HyperX Tempest have had a lot of trouble defending, well, they had a lot of trouble defending their mid turret. It finally went down. Now they're having problems defending bottom turret, and keep in mind, that's the lane that's winning so hard for them, and with a slow push pushing that back in, Altec's going to have to turn that lane around and help push it back the other way so that then he can rotate and really be that big presence that his team really needs right now.
And Westrice dropping the pink ward down. The reason vision is so important is because if Westrice can see, Westrice can play aggressively and continue to push and be a nuisance. But if he can't see, he doesn't know when he's getting ganked by Kez or Kez and Glebe Glarby running up to bring all the CC. And so as long as he's able to stand in Lomo Nation's face and continue applying pressure and never let him just like completely free farm, then he's still going to be really useful for his team. Now we see he's using that burnout move speed to just try to chase his way down towards the dragon area. Obviously, you can't beat Rise in a race because Rise, it's not a foot race for him. It's a TP race.
I mean, you can like kick him out of your TP with your foot if you're Broken Shard, or maybe use that Dragon's Descent from Westrice to keep him out of there. But with the third dragon of the game up, it is going to be Cloud9 HyperX Tempest. Holy crap, Glebe Larbu. He took a little bit of damage. And now, speaking of dragons, it's a dragon on dragon action working out for CompLexity Black, who turn the dragon count around and take one for themselves.
Glebe Larbu, you are one squishy dude. Probably has got a needlessly large rod, and that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, you can see the big difference. We didn't actually talk about this because mid lanes were actually splitting pretty evenly. You do have a kill on Bishu, but more importantly, you have a 005 performance from Crawley, who's almost on that secret agent status, but needs a couple more assists.
Hey, 005 is a secret agent too, just not what we know about. Westrice, also on the Lomo Nation.
There's the Blade of the Ruined King active as well. Lomo Nation is going to have to Lomo just a little bit harder out of this one. Westrice does have flash up, so he can use that if he wants to. Broken Shard does land in the Sonic Wave, and a resonating strike for the kill.
Very nicely played there. Good patience by Broken Shard, waiting for Lomo Nation to go for the juke, and as soon as he did, he was able to land the Sonic Wave and just clean that one up. And that's flash down for Lomo Nation, but Westrice did not use his flash. And again, in a long lane situation like that, Rise basically cannot be at the river against the Shyvana right now, because there's just too much potential for him to pop the Dragon's Descent and then use the Blade of the Ruin King to kind of soak the time that he's rooted, and then just use Burnout to chase down Illumination and just utterly destroy him every single time it's up.
Sweeping things out there, Broken Shard looking to clean up the rift, sweeping his way to victory. I forget the name of that sweeping game that I totally did not play for hours and hours on end earlier today, but
Dust
it's actually
Reaper?
pretty good. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty good. I wonder if Broken Shard is good at sweeping there too. But he's certainly done a good job clearing out the ward coverage, because if you look across the map, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or 11 wards out there. Yeah, 11 if you count the one very far in the top lane. Out for CompLexity Black versus just 1 or 2 for Cloud9 HyperX Tempest. So I don't know, man. If it's about the vision game, CompLexity are winning it. Turrets, gold, kills, everything going in their favor after a very strong start for C9T. Things have definitely turned around.
Kind of waiting to see which one champion is going to step up and just like single-handedly carry the game. Right now, it's looking like Westrice is going to be the closest. He's got 5 kills and a giant stack of farm as well. Blade of the Ruin King plus Spirit Visage done, well on his way towards that Randuin's Omen. And we'll just see what happens once they start getting into some more like large-scale grouped-up fights. That's going to be kind of the next thing that's going to really start separating the two teams. And they're starting to get enough farm where I think teams will feel confident enough to start trying to either force the issue or just kind of pick up their opportunities, go for picks and stuff like that. There's 2 items now on both AD carries. And another BF sword in the pocket for Altec as well. So it looks like he's going kind of a greedy, non-tank killing build.
Now, some big things to watch out for that is actually pretty worrisome is if you look at Cloud9 HyperX Tempest, they have a Ryze top lane, an incredible hyper carry late game. And they also have the hyperest of carries in Jinx, who just loves to get excited. And as the game progresses, that Jinx Ryze combo is going to deal a crazy amount of damage. There's just no way that a Shyvana... Ooh, but speaking of Shyvana, Bishu, though, trying to bounce himself out, Broken Shard, he waited to steal that kill with that Sonic Wave resonating strike. So he's coming back. Broken Shard takes it away, but taking down Bishu, that's most of the wave clear just gone for C9T. With the flash out there, Gleam's gonna get ulted down, and the Boggs actually boxing himself in. Another kill going to Broken Shard. Now 6, 2, and 3, and that top half of the map, just jungler top laner combo, carrying CompLexity so far in this game.
Alright, so I will say, in Broken Shard's defense, that was as soon as he had the Resonating Strike available after he got popped back out by the Satchel Charge. The last one, he even did try to wait, funnel it to someone, but he was like, okay, I just have to kill him. It gave him the right click. We are at the phase of the game where Lee Sin's damage output is going to start falling off, and he's going to be primarily a utility-based champion, so the more kills he can get onto the other members of his team, the better.
Well, the see hero, kill hero methodology that kind of follows Ryze around isn't going to work when your opponents are running away from your base after taking down your inhibitor, and oh, by the way, of about 460 move speed with Burnout on. So pop the cork over the wall in the cocoon, neither one of them will hit, and now Kez, he's going to find Westrice in the bush, and you walk into a bush, you see a dragon, and all of a sudden you're like, huh, not the greatest bush I've ever walked into. I can think of a few better ones, but not going to work out there for Kez, who's going to have to back off and hopefully not die to some more red buffs as C9T looks to push in towards the middle lane.
So they're trying to push in, using Altec's rocket form to get some damage down on the tower safely. But they have to back away because they know that realistically they're pretty behind in gold right now. So they don't want to try to force any big engagements. They just want to try to take down the tower and just kind of avoid fighting. It's C champion kill tower.
Alright, I mean, if you look at Team Dignitas, they just told PewDiePie that everything's a tower, so he just kills towers a lot more now, so hey, methodology like that works for C9T too. So they're just killing turrets and trying to come back as far as like the global gold count is concerned. They're only down about 5,400 gold, so it's not, or 4,400 gold, see, there it is. About 4,400 gold, so not a huge deficit, but definitely a lot of strength, and you can see pretty much all of that strength centered around that top lane combo. It's 505 for Westrice, and I don't know what area code that is, but it's actually, it's a great place to live if you're a dragon.
So, Pink Ward is going out. Again, it's all about the vision control at this phase of the game, especially for CompLexity Black, since they have the lead right now. They're going to be looking to press forward aggressively, get good wards down, and continue controlling objectives just like this dragon. Smite goes down, and CompLexity Black extend their lead. They're just shy of 6,000 gold now.
All right, thanks for calculating that, Mal. It's nice to have you around to get my back on stuff like that. We've got kind of the big question for me is who's going to have Altek's back, because as the person who's farthest ahead on this team, I mean, he's going to be the guy they're looking to carry this out. All of a sudden, a Talisman, Lomo Nation, though, Izuki getting really, really chunked. That's the second time probably he's done that. You'll actually notice both AP carries going for the Chalice into Death Cap build. And that's actually a big change. Sometimes you used to see something different from Bishu, where he'd maybe hit up a Lich Bane. Lich Bane has been changed sizably, so probably won't see that in the Ziggs build until either very, very, very much later on. Still, both mid laners looking for that big Void Staff, and really, I think it's more important for Bishu. This would actually be an opportunity to get Void Staff first. Oh, Gleeds is going to get caught out, pulled right back, and get over here. And he is going to get over there and go down. Westerice, though, very, very chunked. The Super Mega Death Rocket does not find a target. Probably wouldn't have killed anyone anyway. CompLexity Black find a pick, but actually are forced to disengage.
And that's, they have the go button, right? But Broken Shard lands a Q, and he's able to just kind of go in, land the Tempest, cripple down, get the big slow, and just like that, they can force the issue immediately. He's also going to have his Randuin's Omen done as soon as he heads back to base, so this is going to be really strong for his team. He's going to be able to apply a second slow in the area to everybody, so he's got the cripple, which if he's got it max, let's check it out. Yes, it is max, so it's a 60% slow right now in an AoE, and then he's going to be able to pop the Randuin's as well, which is another just absolutely debilitating slow. So it's very difficult for Altek to get free of him and really do a whole lot if they go into a full-on team fight, which we still haven't even seen yet because it's all been completely catch-based so far.
Exactly. Find a pick like CompLexity Black just did on Glebe Glarbu, and hey, the game goes on a little bit longer. The most important thing to notice is that Prolly both reached and transcended Secret Agent status, going 007 and then one level further, 008 off the kill on to Glebe. Now, a very sneaky Baron here is Robert X. Lee's got that range, so he can do it from over the wall. And then we had Westerice just zoom his way on in there completely stealthily. Cloud9, HyperX, Tempest have no idea this Baron's going on.
And that's it. They have it. I mean, Westerice is so tanky. Broken Shard dealing so much damage. Has the Randuin's Omen. Actually, both of them have Randuin's Omen to help out with the dragon damage. And just like that, Robert X. Lee with the 3-item damage build, able to drop that Baron extremely quickly.
The problem with Rise is that Banshee's Veil doesn't give mana anymore, so you can see there's an armor item specking in there with the Glacial Shroud for Izuki. He's building armor versus a team that, for all intents and purposes, didn't have an AD carry for a very long time. Oh, Glebe does get flash kicked right into the enemy team. Second time in a row, but now, oh, it's going to be a kill, picking off Broken Shard. Bubba Dub very, very low in the back, does have that Molten Shield to keep himself alive, giving him the extra MR to sustain through the Ziggs bomb from Bishu that would have taken him down. So a pick for a pick, Glebe and Broken Shard trading things out there. Not a good trade from CompLexity, who will back out for now. Probably still looking for a re-engage, though.
So that's a big win for C9. They trade the colossal Broken Shard for the Glebe Glarbu, who has gotten picked on the entirety of the game. And Glebe Glarbu, I mean, he's gonna be okay with that one. He's gonna be just fine with that. CompLexity Black, they do still have the Baron buff, so they're losing a little bit of time on this one. Their push is gonna get stalled out a little bit, having lost their big initiator. But so far things could be going a lot worse for Cloud9 Tempest.
But like I said earlier, the longer this game goes on, the further Rise gets back into the game, and the further Altek gets ahead. Altek decided to go for an Infinity Edge instead of the Last Whisper, because at the time he didn't have all that much armor to deal with. But now I think it's safe to say he may need some, with the Randuin's Omens being stacked up there. But if you look at those Negatron cloaks, almost nothing but magic resistance from CompLexity.
That's true. That's very true. They do have the double Randuin's Omen, which in a lot of cases is going to be enough for most of this, but they're just concerned about the triple AP composition that we're basically seeing out of Cloud9 HyperX Tempest here. They've got Bishu Ziggs, they've got Kez's Elise, and they've got Lomo Nation's Rise. So they're just itemizing against that damage as best they can. Rise is actually the person they're more concerned about scaling into the late game rather than Altek's Jinx. Picking up the extra defensive items for him right away. We'll see if it's like last item Thornmail for Westerice, then he's still going to be basically unkillable, especially if Prolly is focusing some command protects onto him.
You can see a very early distortion upgrade picked up for Altek's boots, just so he can make sure to have that flash up every single fight. The safeguarding shenaniganry going down in the bottom lane. CompLexity Black only have about a minute and a half left on this Baron, so a couple nice wave clears, and this almost gets to the point where C9 team may have maybe a slight advantage just due to the characters scaling up and really getting those big items. Seraph's Embrace completed. You're looking for a Frozen Heart after that, and with a Void Staff, almost enough gold for that on Vishu. There's Westrice just diving in to start the fight. Gleave's gonna go down first as pretty much every fight's gonna start, but a miss on the command Shockwave is not gonna be what CompLexity Black are looking for. They pick off Glebe, but at what cost? It does look like they are pushed back for now, but are successful at taking down the bottom turret.
And they have the Baron buff, so they're gonna have so much regen. If Robert X Lee gets like a couple of creeps that he can right click, he's gonna be just fine on his health. They're not gonna stick around for this one. They don't want to find out what happens if Altec is able to come back out and get a couple crits with the Infinity Edge. I also like that Altec has picked up the distortion boots here, because he just says, you know what? The best thing that I'm going to be able to do this game is flash away from anti-flash timbers, or flash away from broken shard, landing the Q, going in on me and trying to ward jump kick me out or flash kick me out. So the distortion is a huge enchantment for him in this matchup.
All right, well, things that are also huge in this matchup are, say, the gold is extending almost to that 10,000 gold mark, which is kind of where you start to, stop seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's really looking rough for Cloud9 HyperX Tempest, but they continue to hang on. And this actually is pretty scary, because when you see a team able to maybe not win, but just not lose, and they have two crazy hyper carries, maybe start to get a little bit more worried, especially now with two Banshee's Veils coming out on top of a ton of extra magic resistance. Izuki and Vishu are going to have a rough time dealing damage, so you cannot put your eggs all in Altec's basket.
Probably going to head back to base after grabbing up a blue buff. He's got another 2,200 gold or so for himself. He wants Sanji's Hourglass to be pretty good for him at this point of the game. And there's a needlessly large rod, so it does look like it's going to be the final pickup for him.
Totally DFG, Malphus.
Totally DFG. He's got this.
Or maybe he just needs a second hat. Sometimes
one for the ball? He wants to dress the ball up?
It's true. I mean, his ball's just like totally hatless. Like, you have to accessorize Malphus. I was taught this very, very long ago that, if you have one hat and a ball, you definitely need the hat there too. It's just basic fashion, Malphus. God.
Yeah, if you've ever played any Valve game ever, you know how important hats are to having fun while playing video games. So, you know what? I can see the point. You are absolutely correct. It could be a second Rabadon's Death Cap.
Yeah, or like the edgeless companion cube. Ball's very, very important. Another lesson you learn from either Valve games or just life in general. So Prawley pushing down the bottom lane is a little bit far afield from the rest of his team's. CompLexity Black not really looking to push any advantages right now, and this is what's worrisome, because they're not doing anything. They're farming minions, which is something that works out a lot better for Cloud9.
Robert Ixley going PvE, clearing out creeps, doing his thing. Westrice is continuing to try to push this down, but you see the wave clear that Rise is capable of now. He's starting to get pretty big on this one. Has another blasting one, so I'm thinking it's going for the Void Staff, because with this much early magic resistance, he's not really dealing any damage. So he needs to get a Void Staff to get through. I mean, we're seeing Spirit Visage plus a second Spectre's Cowl on the Shyvana. There's a Spectre's Cowl here for the Lee Sin. The McHale's, which is a little bit of extra armor, but not too much. As CompLexity Black group up on this tower.
Tower will start to get chunked down here, and this is why Robert X Lee, even though he started out very far behind, is so good as an AD carry, because he's going to be able to poke down these turrets from a very, very safe range. And off this defense, C9T, I mean, they had pretty good poke and wave clear, so this isn't actually all that bad of a place to stay. They're just stalling things out. Baron's up in 20 seconds. Could just see CompLexity put on pressure top lane and then disengage for Baron.
Yeah, the biggest thing CompLexity need is something to start the fight that's not standing on top of a tower. So if they're able to bait this out and control the vision, which you can see how many pink wards they have down in the area, they do have good vision control. They just have to force someone to face check. They have to force someone to walk into a position that they don't want to be in. And this is going to be it.
Oh, we're going to see the reverse dives. Glebe Larva goes in and dies, and Westrice dives the back line, gets McHale's out there. Still very, very high on hit points. Lobo Nation's not where he wants to be, trying to get that Rune Prism down, but it's just too much damage from the back line. But now, speaking of back line, we've got Altec coming over. We've got Altec, we've got Vishu. They're doing so much damage. Robert goes down. So excited. The exciting intensifies, Malphus. I can tell you're pumped. And now C9TR2.
That was so horrifically bad for CompLexity Black. Bubba not gonna get hit by the zap. Altic just trying to zone him away from this one. Bubba is trying to be a superhero right now, but it's not gonna work out for him. Altic is just too big at this phase of the game, and if you do not take him off the map, or horrible things are gonna happen. Like you see the shockwave caught out Gleeglarby and pulled it back in. He ended up dying just to Westrice's initiation, and that's great. But if they cannot get onto Altic, if they cannot stop him from dealing the damage, they're not going to win these fights, period.
I mean, Yazuki is making a very strong statement. He's on his campaign trail for president of the Lomo Nation, and that fight almost got him elected right there. And while he didn't actually do all that much damage, he really got caught out, but he just drew Westrice's attention. And the entire time, Altic's just like you said, just getting excited there in the back, dealing a ton of damage. He had that 4-item 80 carry. Now it's 5 items. He picked up a static shiv on top of Phantom Dancer, man. This, I mean, if you stack up the Fishbone's extra damage, it gives you, let's see, I'm trying to calculate that. Can't do it, but let's just say he is attacking pretty quickly. 1.5 attack speed, even without that stacked up.
Yeah, it goes up to 2.2 if he hits a crit and has the max stacks on Pow Pow, the minigun. 2.2 attack speed. And he's going to be critting an awful lot. Phantom Dancer plus static shield plus Infinity Edge.
75%.
Yeah. He almost starts, he's starting to look like a Yasuo right now, where every number that comes off his damage is a big number. Look at that.
And it's static shiv that crits too, so whole lot of critting going on.
And with Fishbones, the rocket form, you get AoE crits basically. Like he just hit the big wolf and did 1,000 damage to both the small wolves because of the crits.
Yeah, and it's not just you get area of effect crits from Pow Pow, but you also get it from the static shivs. So there's a lot of area effect, there's a lot of crit damage, and a lot of just overall damage from Altic. And like we said, against that CompLexity Black that thought they were itemizing against a triple or really quadra AP composition and stack magic resistance, where's your Thornmails, Malphus? I'm not seeing them.
Oh, Thornmail, where art thou? That's a big one.
I mean, there's Randuins, and that's cool and everything, but literally, like, look at these armor values. Like, Bubba has 80, Robert X. Lee has 80, Prolly has 75, and then you get up to top lane tanks who just have about 150 apiece. So, against an Altic that is cresting 409 attack damage, and that 40 ability power, of course. You can't forget that. He's looking strong.
We're in a situation where, unless Westrice is parking on Altic with a command protect on him, like using the Shyvana ball delivery system, they're going to have a really hard time shutting down Altic. If they do that, that's a 210 armor target that can pop a Blade of the Ruin King, pop a Randuin's Omen, and deal a pretty significant amount of damage as well. So it's kind of down to Westrice and Prolly to be able to take him out, but they couldn't do anything in that fight because Lomo Nation just like showed up from the side. He came around a wall and found Prolly and was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do my Rise Burst and see what happens. Like Q, W, E, Q, and that was all he needed. And Prolly just died. And Prolly was like, well, okay. At least I got my ultimate off in that fight. And that was realistically the only good thing he had to say about that fight.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of better things to say here about this game. It's been back and forth and just incredibly even. We've got a, 6,000 gold deficit for Cloud9 HyperX Tempest, but it actually looks like they're the ones in the dominant position. And once you start to get to this 60, 70,000 gold mark, you start to see a few full builds out there. And really with as many of those full builds starting to be completed, it's all about your end game. And when you look at a Ryze, Jinx, Ziggs combo versus a comp it's pretty tanky, but you really only have like 1.5 sources of damage when you talk about like Robert X. Lee and Prolly. There's more of like a utility AP carry. Now, granted, he does a bunch of damage. The only problem is that I think there's just straight up more from C9T.
Oh man, we're at a situation where Altic is done scaling. Like, all he can do is buy elixirs at this point, unless he wants to sell his boots. And I'd be pretty surprised to see him do that, because the distortion enchantment is exactly what he needs. He needs to have as many flashes as possible.
And he does have that all-important scrying orb, so he's looking to get the blessing of Riot Kobe there by making sure to check people out with that. And hasn't actually used it just yet, but if he ever needs to, it'll be there for him.
Alright, Lomo Nation is kind of the guy who's got the scaling room left that needs to be done. Like, they need to put as much farm onto Yazuki's Rise as they can. Because if he finishes up the Frozen Heart, completes that Magic Resist item, then he's going to be able to stick around and stand in these fights for a lot longer and do more of the things that you kind of need a late game Ryze to be able to do. And thus far, I mean, he's getting most of that done, but he's not at that full I stand around and never die and deal 8 million damage phase yet, and they need him to get there.
The big strength that CompLexity Black have are, well, not being forced inside their base. They're putting on a lot of pressure, but as we all know, especially with Jinx being so adept at popping the cork, a lot of pressure can mean an imminent explosion afterwards. So C9T, they are grouped up protecting their open middle inhibitor, but it recalls back to base for CompLexity Black. We do have several thousand gold to spend on everybody, so it's nice to see them really wanting to get that last big spike of power for what could be one of the last fights of the game.
Ooh, this is getting scary. I always get nervous and scared when we start getting into late game situations because so many things can happen so incredibly quickly. There's so much damage on the field that if you get caught out for even a moment, you cease to exist. That's why there are 3 Banshees males here on the side of CompLexity Black, because that is arguably the best item at not letting that happen. Not just be like, oh, I got caught by a CC and now I'm dead. Shucks.
Yeah, it's not even about building magic resistance for those. It's just I don't want to get caught. I don't want to get hit by a zap. I don't want to get hit by maybe a satchel charge or a death sentence. A lot of big catch potentials. The biggest one of all probably being that rune prism. And something that's actually very underestimated on Ryze is now with level 3 desperate power, he gets 80 movement speed from that. Like 80 movement speed is a big deal on Ryze. That puts him up to about 400. Wait, no, it's gonna be way more than that. It's gonna be almost 500 movement speed when you pop that, and that's some pretty good engage. And you have a catch that's let's see, was that 1.75 second snare.
It's kind of fun to watch Altec go through his jungle right now. Scoop, scoop, scoop. Camp's done. Bye. Peace.
Altec kills things pretty quickly. Malphus, I was needed to make a correction. It's a root, not a snare, on Ryze's Rune Prism. But like you said, you're starting to see him stack up all of those defensive items. And with Baron fight coming up here in a few seconds, it's exactly the right time to have him.
So Baron's going to come back up. Both teams jockeying for position. Vision control going over to CompLexity Black as they're the first ones into the area. Glebe Glarbru stepping forward here. Westrice is the tank that's going to be running the front on this one.
Oh, Bishu.
Youch.
Does get chunked out before this fight starts. Westrice has been the big one to start the last few fights. Broken Shards had his few initiations too, but the Shrelia is backwards and he goes down, but it only catches Glebe. He's gonna get chunked pretty hard. There's Broken Shard gonna come through the back, actually kick Kez in there. Command Shockwave does not hit onto the carry back line. Altec will take that Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike. There's so much area of effects. They're just grouping up for Altec. He's gonna get a double kill, gets excited, over the wall zap will land onto Robert. He's gonna go down here, and Cloud9 HyperX Tempest lose nothing but Ryze. Now Kez still has enough damage to finish off the ace, taking out Bubba Dub. 5 rather, for 1. And 18-18, Cloud9 HyperX Tempest, they're forgetting about Baron. They're just going straight for the inhib.
Absolutely, and with like 45 seconds till anybody's going to be up on this one. It's a full 40 seconds to probably. They're just going to win the game right now. That's the game plan. They do have a few creeps that are just kind of moseying their way in, mostly ranged minions. But it doesn't. Oh, there's a cannon in there as well. Wow, everything just kind of snapped too. But I mean, that's going to be the game. Cloud9, they dragged that fight out so far, and they created so much space for Altec. I mean, we saw there was some diving going on, but it just wasn't enough. They did not shut down Altec. He was able to pick up the kills and just keep himself alive. Lomo Nation was a huge part of just breaking that fight in half, and then it was just divide and conquer. And with that, we see Cloud9 HyperX Tempest picking up a win after getting a 5-for-1 ace and still being down 1,000 gold.
And to Westrice's credit, he did as much as he possibly could. 7-2-7 his final score there, but and even 5-4-4 for Robert X. Lee. He came back from a very rough start to the game to just still be a really big threat, but man, you cannot outcarry Altec here. He's going to be calling up the Altec honey line. They're not even going to charge him after a game like this. It's going to be a good day to be C9 HyperX Tempest. They pick up 2 wins, 0 losses for their record on the day, but that is going to be it for our, 5th game of the day as we head into game number 6. So, I don't know, it's been a good day for League of Legends here at the North American Challenger League, and hopefully you guys will stick around because I believe coming up next, we actually have Team 8 taking on the return of LOL Pro, and after getting a forfeit win earlier versus Cursed Academy, we'll have to see if they can go 2-0 on the day as well. So stick around, we've got that game and a nice little outro for you guys coming up as, well, one of the last days of NACL continues right after a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere.